Doing a quick pot up this afternoon of some of the figs that were indoors and are getting a little bit too big for their pots, including this one here, which is the Black Madeira, and it's put on a lot of growth since we saw it initially in that outdoor grow tent for a while and then in the inside grow tent. Lots of roots on this, growing really well. Another one that's growing really well is this i258. It's put on heaps of roots and it's about time to be potted up into something a little bit larger. Once they get to about this stage and they have a few leaves on them, they need to be watered more frequently. This one here was one of the violet Sepors that I had, and you can see there's a lot of those leaves are curled, and that's because I missed a single day watering with these ones. With this particular plant here is sitting up the back in the tent, and because I missed that, and there's so many leaves that this plant has to support, it actually was underwatered and lost a lot of those leaves. So by potting them up into a bigger pot, the roots have more room to spread out and collect more water, and it won't be so tight in there. So we'll pot all these up. I've got all the pots ready to go here. Pot them up. We'll come back and have a look, and then we'll have a look at some of the other new fig varieties that are now leafing and rooting, which we can add to our list in the collection. So we'll be back soon. And while we're potting them up, just a very quick look at the potting mix that I'm using for these at the moment. It's a mix that I put together with a whole bunch of different ingredients. I think I've talked about this a couple of times before. The bulk of the ingredients are these chips, these pine chips that you can see. You can buy them. They're nice and airy. The whole mix is very light, so even though it's a light airy mix, there's a lot of perlite in there. There's some turfus in there, which is like a little stone to fill up, and it holds moisture and things like that really well. And the idea is that the potting mix is always free flowing. No water will accumulate within the pot to drown the roots, and you can water it almost as frequently as you like, and the water will just flow through without ever forming these water pockets for the roots to sit and decompose in. And just an example of the root ball underneath these plants that have grown through already. As you can see, the roots have almost fully colonized the soil here, definitely ready for an up pot. And so now all of these plants beautifully potted up and ready to go on to the biggest stage of their life. I'm going to have a little bit of problem finding room for these guys. The tent is just so full. I think I'm going to have to take some things out of there to be able to fit these in. Even though the weather's getting a lot better, I think we're actually scheduled for quite a warm day today, and we've got a string of days at around 17 degrees and minimums almost exclusively above zero. We are still having some very cold days, and including this morning, it's around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and you can see that I still have ice in the yard from the cold that we had this morning, -5 here in Canberra. So it was a very cold night. Definitely not one that these figs could survive. The latest cuttings though that have put on roots and leaves, and I've got a couple of them still in both tents that have either roots but no leaves, or leaves and no roots, but these are the ones that have successfully got both, and I can say there's a very good chance that they'll all survive and to be added to the list in the permanent collection. So we have Moscatel Preto, Sofreno Preto, Spanish Dessert, which I believe is actually a Smyrna type. It needs a fig waft to get fruit off that one, so that's something I'm going to have to work on in the future. Col De Dame Noir, Dottato. Dottato is apparently a sport, or Kudota fig is a sport of this Dottato, which means that the tree would have originally been a Dottato tree, and then one of the branches would have become mutated or different in some way, and someone took a cutting from that and a new variety was formed. We have Vardika. Vardika is one that I lost previously. I've got 3 cuttings of this and they've all put on roots and leaves, so good to see that that's coming back. JH Adriatic. So JH Adriatic is apparently an Adriatic type fig found in America, a gentleman's homestead. I forget his name, and it's apparently an exceptional Adriatic type fig. So it's another 7 figs to add to the collection. We'll add it to the list, and we'll see over the next fortnight how the next ones do, and see if we can't add another 7 or 10 varieties to the list. Alright guys, catch you all in the next one.